What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Long time no chat. Today in this video, we're going to take a look at the return of Tim Tebow to the NFL. Tebow signed a one-year contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars the other day, returning as a tight end. Mind you, this is a man who spent his entire previous career as a quarterback. So in this video, we're going to review the numerology of this story and how it's also connected to MLB player Kevin Pillar, who was struck in the face with a baseball 3 days before Tim Tebow announced his return. You'll notice that on Tim Tebow's Wikipedia page, he's actually wearing a jersey for the New York Mets, and he's been playing minor league baseball for the past several seasons. Kevin Pillar also currently plays for the New York Mets. And this return riddle, for a long time, Tim Tebow has been synced up with the numbers of Jesus all the way back to his 316-yard game back in 2012. And his return to the NFL 3 days after a Mets teammate struck down in the face. So let's take a look at the numbers and see how this all ties together. First of all, this announcement of Tebow's return was made on May 20th, the date written 20/5. Notice how the name Tebow equals both 20 and 25 in reduction. Furthermore, the date numerology had 46 in it, 5 plus 20 plus 21. This is the Gematria of Tim Tebow, and 85 in reverse reduction. 85 a significant number to this story, as it's Tebow's new jersey number. And his new jersey number was pointed out in the headline for several of these news outlets. Tim Tebow's 85 is the same number that he wore for the New York Mets organization playing minor league baseball. In the reverse alphabetic order, the name Christ sums to 85. This is also the reduction value of National Football League. So Tebow's Christ return to the NFL with the number 85. Now, what also stands out is how the number 85 has this square number gematria of 1870. And the number 1870 is relevant to this crucifixion code of Jesus. Consider how this painting, Christ on the Cross, which depicts Jesus dying during darkness over the sky, this was painted in the year 1870. This represents the number 187 in numerology. That's the value of total eclipse. It's also famous as the homicide code. And in Hebrew Gematria, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tebow's new team, has this 187 value. Now, occasionally, things happen in sports that are so numerically significant that even the mainstream media has to talk about the numerology of the game. And back in 2012, we had a perfect example of this, where Tim Tebow, who was known for putting John 3:16 on his eye black under his mask, he had this amazing playoff game when he played for the Denver Broncos, where he threw for 316 passing yards, averaging 31.6 yards per completion. The television ratings were 31.6. Of course, TV ratings are all hogwash. Pittsburgh even held the ball for 31 minutes and 6 seconds in that game. So there were a lot of 316s. It was pretty wild. And this ties to John 3:16, which explains why Jesus gave his life. And in that verse, or in the Gospels, we learn that Jesus was crucified at the age of 33, as taught by the Catholic Church, in the year 33 AD. So the number 33 closely tied to the crucifixion of Jesus. Tebow's last team, the Denver Broncos, played their home games in the 303 area code. Now he's signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, which sums to 303 in the reverse alphabetic order. Tebow is currently 33 years old, and when he signed with the Jags, he was exactly 12,333 days old. With the end date included, his signing was exactly 1 week or 7 days before this year's total lunar eclipse. And crucifixion darkness in the Bible, a lot of people interpret this as a solar eclipse, but if you actually look at the date of Passover, we learn that it's believed Jesus was crucified on the date of a lunar eclipse, and April 3rd, 33 AD was the date of a lunar eclipse. Now, this year's lunar eclipse has very significant gematria, or the date it falls on ties to the gematria of a significant verse of Revelation. So it's no surprise we're seeing this event synced up 1 week early. Both 1 week and 7 days, sum to 33 in reduction. In the 33rd verse of the Bible, God rests on the 7th day. The words lunar and eclipse both equal 33 as well. And check out the gematria of the word return, 33 and 96. When Tebow announced his return, he was 33 years, 9 months, and 6 days old. In the reverse alphabetic order, return equals 66. That was the primary date numerology of the date he announced his return. 66 also the reduction value of 33 and Jacksonville Jaguars, the team he's playing for. In Jewish gematria, NFL also sums to 66. And consider how the city of Jacksonville has matching gematria with Jesus Christ. The last city he played in, Denver, Colorado, also synced up with Jesus Christ. So there's a little bit more here, but what I really want to focus on is how this connects to Kevin Pillar. And just the name itself, Pillar, stands out. Think about how in the Bible, God and Jesus are often referred to as the pillar or pillar of strength. And in Freemasonry, they have the two pillars, Jachin and Boaz. And the word pillars equals 33. And when we think of pillars, you kind of think of the number 11. The name Jesus sums to 11 in reduction gematria. So how strange is it that 3 days prior to Tim Tebow making his return to the NFL, we get the injury of a fellow Mets player struck in the face by a baseball? You know, much like how Jesus returns to heaven on the third day after the crucifixion. So let's look at the numerology with Kevin Pillar and see how bizarre this is. The first thing I notice is that the Mets have the number 41 on their sleeve this year. See that? And that's not Kevin Pillar's number. But the reason it's on every player's sleeve this year is because it belonged to Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver, a famous Mets pitcher who died on August 31st this past year. Well, the number 41 that he wore is relevant to Kevin Pillar because Pillar was born on the 4th of January, or the date 4/1. The pitcher who hit Kevin Pillar was named Jacob Webb, and the name Webb equals 14, a lot like Kevin Pillar's January 4th birthday. But if you measure from the death of Tom Seaver, August 31st, 2020, to the date that Kevin Pillar got hit, it was exactly 37 weeks. And intriguingly, that's the reduction value of Tom Seaver. This at-bat came against the Atlanta Braves, which also sums to 37. But what's really strange about this is that Tom Seaver finished his MLB career in the year 86. And in our standard reduction method, the name George Thomas Seaver equals 86. Kevin Andrew Pillar also equals 86. You may also notice how the name Pillar sums to 94 in the reverse alphabetic order. Tom Seaver's full name equals 94 in reverse reduction. And the fastball that struck Kevin Pillar in the face was thrown at 94 miles per hour, a fact that was pointed out very specifically in many of these headlines. Tom Seaver died in Calistoga, California last year. Notice how that has ordinal gematria of 175. Kevin Pillar signed with the New York Mets on February 21st of 2021, which is a span of 175 days after Tom Seaver died. Notice how the name Kevin Pillar syncs up with New York Mets almost perfectly as well. And what's interesting about the team Mets, you get this 57 and 51 gematria. New York Mets also gives you 57 and 51 in reduction. Both of these numbers are connected to the moon. Moon sums to 57 and 51. Again, this ritual connected to the lunar eclipse occurring on May 26th. And the name Kevin Pillar also has the 57. Kevin Pillar also 129. Think about how the moon equals 99. 99 is 129, a little bit roundabout way, but you see what I'm doing here. One more look at Tom Seaver. We find that he would currently be 76 years old. And the pitcher who hit Kevin Pillar, Jacob Webb, the name Webb equals 76. And notice how the date numerology of that game synced up perfectly with the gematria of Jacob Webb, 63 and 27. On the date of the game, Jacob Webb was a span of 333 months and 3 days old. Remember, this connected to Tim Tebow, who was not only 33 years old, but also 12,333 days old. Now, Tebow changed his number to 85, and we pointed out how this is a number of Christ. Christ summing to 77, just like Jaguars, the team that he's playing for. In standard reduction, the name Christ equals 32, and this is a significant number in this story involving Kevin Pillar and Jacob Webb. So the name Webb equals 32 in the alphabetic order. And notice how the name Pillar is 32 in reduction. Kevin Pillar was born on a date with a life lesson number of 32, and his birthday falls a span of exactly 32 weeks before Jacob Webb's. Pillar is currently 32 years old. He's also 19 weeks after his birthday, and the name Pillar equals 190. Going from Kevin Pillar's date that he signed with the New York Mets to the date that he got beamed by the baseball, it was 85 days after he signed. And again, Tim Tebow wearing number 85 for the Mets. Notice how the name Kevin has overlap with Jesus, 61 and 74. The name Pillar equals 32 and 40, which is the same two numbers as Christ. 32 and 40. Now, to confirm that these two events are connected, we can measure between the birthdays of Tim Tebow and Kevin Pillar, and notice how we get exactly 509 days. In English extended gematria, Jaguars equals 509. Kevin Pillar was drafted 979th in the draft. And this is here. Look at that. He was even drafted in the 32nd round, which I didn't catch. So there's another 32 for you. But here we see that he was drafted 979th overall in the MLB draft. And in Jewish gematria, Jaguars equals 979. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Peace, love, God bless, and we will talk to you soon. See ya.